Right. Hey, what's the craziest or most spectacular bump you ever saw? Because there was a bunch of them.
The one where I thought the person was hurt the worst, there was, we called it a Stairway to Hell, I believe, and it was Sandman versus Sabu. So it was before, TLC. We just called it, I don't think we called it tables, ladders, and chairs. You were able to use everything.
Right.
And from where I was standing, I couldn't see that they had set up two tables between the ring and the guardrail from where I was standing. So Sandman, Sabu tips over the ladder, or Sandman, I think, was going to do, I really can't call it a dive. It was just gravity. So a somersault on top of Sabu. I didn't see the tables. I thought he went all the way to the floor. And I started screaming at Paul. I remember in front of everyone, this is too much, this is whatever. He's screaming back at me. And then I felt like a moron because I realized that they had tables to slow them up somewhat. But so that was the worst perceived thing I ever saw. The worst thing that ever actually happened was we called it the Gumby bump. Mike Awesome, who again, the late Mike Awesome, who was 6'5" and 265 pounds, but flew around like a cruiserweight, dove over the top rope onto J.T. Smith, who was a local guy, and we didn't have a lot of room between the ring and the guard rail. J.T. Smith made sure to stop Mike from hitting the floor, and JT was bent backwards over the guardrail, and I thought he had broken his back. That was the worst thing I ever saw because I thought I watched a man break his back, and it's online. It's bad looking. We wound up putting it in the open of the show once we knew JT didn't break his back.
One of the things that was an interesting bump to me was when New Jack jumped off that balcony and just kind of swan dived, or whatever you would call that dive, onto the guys below. Just from a visual, it was stunning. Again, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to be the guy on the receiving end, but just seeing him launch off that balcony. Do you remember the bump I'm talking about?
The bump, he did it so many times.
Oh, I didn't know he did it all the time. I just thought it was a one-off.
It became his thing, and it got higher and higher and higher and higher to the point where we were in Danbury, Connecticut, and it was New Jack versus Vic Grimes of the Baldies, and there was a table below them, and they were all the way up, like towards the top of the building. And as they're going down, they're both supposed to go down through the table, and I guess Vic froze up and didn't go at the right time and said, I can't, and Jack said, too bad we're going. And because of that, Jack falls, misses the table completely, and shatters, I believe, I don't know if it was his ankle or his face or both. And Vic might have fallen on top of him. It was really bad. Hey. And I just think, I understand that everyone was trying to one-up each other, but I think it comes to a point where if you can't actually wrestle in the ring, maybe this isn't for you.
Give me your opinion on some of the chair shots you were seeing on a weekly basis, because, man, there were some guys throwing some serious steel in that squared circle, mister.
Well, I mean, you took some of them, too, not only in ECW, but even in WWE before. WWE now has a policy of no shots with anything to the head, even if you put your hands up, which is great because what we're learning about concussions now, and with the recent settlement of the NFL with all the veterans, what I saw, especially in ECW, you talk about Balls Mahoney and Masato Tanaka, or Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome. It was absolutely brutal to watch. It was like the match between Rock and Mick Foley in WWE. To watch that, and at the time, maybe because I was younger, maybe because, you think you're invincible and everyone's invincible when you're younger, you're watching it. I look back at it now, and it kind of makes me sick to my stomach. And
it does.
It was a lot of unnecessary risks being taken at that time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I just, I might have taken a shot to the dome unprotected, but I was a hands-up guy. It's a reaction thing. You got to protect yourself. Yeah, I took a couple unprotected, but, man, that's just, you got to take care of yourself. I understand you want the guys to, you think you're doing the right thing, but you got to do the smart thing. Is if anybody out there at the local or independent level is listening to this show, if you are going to take a chair shot, and like you said, WWE, there's none. But if you're at the local or independent level, take my advice, put your hands up or refuse to take one, because for the money that you're making, it really is not worth it. You should not come out of the business with 16 concussions. It just should not happen. If you have over 3 or 4 even, you're doing something drastically wrong. So if I can, point anybody in the right direction, easy on the chair shots. Don't be a mark.